Okay, we're live. Better be careful here. I might get swamped by people that. Anyway, we'll see. Okay, so what this one's about is this is Silly Spazwold the Almighty. The guy's a bit of a fruitcake, and what we're going to do is I can't find it. Here's that one. That's that one. That's that. Oh, here we go. Right. So I'm not gonna run through everything because that'll, give him something to this guy, something to carry on about. Now you'll notice I tease him a bit because he's got an ego. That's what I do with people that are egoic, and egos are just a nightmare for humanity. So what I'll do, I'll just screen share. Right, this is it. The banter goes on with this dude incessantly. Some of it's probably a bit stupid and childish. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. So this guy's a chronic liar and a gaslighter. So this is me saying just ignoring the comment really when he talks crap. Then he says, Rob, this is why you keep... So he's saying define what the terms mean. Oh, yeah, because I asked him a question, right? I said, in nature, as far as I can tell, there are only two survival patterns. Survival pattern for the self, survival pattern for the community. So that's my premise. He said, no, that's not right. There are many, many survival patterns. He'll probably change that down to many now that he's asked. So then I said, all right, well, because, it's going to help me learn, can you give me the third one? That, just give me one so I can examine it. And he gave me some silly thing about goats, which was really a survival pattern for the self. So that was that. And he's stubbornly resisted giving me any information. So before... And this is a tip if you're dealing with gaslighters, don't move forward until they give evidence for what they're talking about. Stop them in their tracks. If they can't give evidence, say, well, all right, well, obviously you're gaslighting or there's some hidden agenda. So the tip is to hold firm and say, if it doesn't match your reality, say, where's your evidence? They make it up in their mind. And when people make up things in their mind, that's what we call delusional. Oh, and the other thing these do, and you're going to see plenty of examples, the other things these dudes do is they project their worldview and their badness, if you like, onto you. So he's saying, Rob, this is why you keep having problems with people. So the problem was, let's have a look again. Definition of terms, it's not hard. You say blah, blah, blah. Well, it's not hard to understand two survival patterns. What's the third? Why does he need terms of reference? That's bullshit. The guy's just ducking for cover. You have documented history of making up your own definition for things. No. Oh, that's actually true. I don't walk away from that, but I don't make it up. I say, this is my definition. I explain it. Right? And then, through the course of time, I say, look, see, that's what I was talking about when I was talking about cognitive dissonance, or when I'm talking about the fight-flight pattern and how that's attached to the self-survival instinct. So I do. So again, he's misrepresenting reality. That's delusional. Rob, this is why you keep having problems with people. So he's suggesting that I have to give definitions. Well, it's been a long time, but there are there seems to be a few people coming on board, that start to listen a bit more to what I say. So I'm not sure that he's quite right what he's saying there. Nah, people are beginning to go, well, that's me saying that. You consistently misuse terminology and you do not understand. Well, no, I don't consistently do it. There's only a couple of things: cognitive dissonance, survival instincts, ego. I have a different definition of ego. You will not ever define your terms. Well, no, Spaz, I've told, and I call him that because his name's Chaz. So that's just a dig at his ego. I explain every bloody time. Anyone wants to know, I'm more than happy to explain it. And I've explained it thousands of times. So again, he's being delusional, mischievous, and this is related to gaslighting. You consistently, what people are coming around. Yeah, so I said people are coming around. So being a little bit of a control freak, he wants to know what's going on there. Well, I'm not going to tell him, but there's a few. I understand it all secret. So it's a secret. Secret, sure, Rob. So that's, I'm saying I'm not telling him stuff. And, I don't have to. It's my business, not his. Let's see. And then I said, can you get Fizzy into Hangout? So Fizz is a bit of a notorious gaslighter from England. So I want to, that guy put on a bit of a show today saying that he, was sorry about what he did. I just want to have a chat to him to make sure that it's actually sincere. And also, I believe, particularly the harm these gaslighters do, he really, as part of his contrition, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, he's really got to, make a public statement or a public confession and make sure that that gets to the people that he's harassed. Because what they do is they get people to actually doubt themselves. That's their caper, that's their game, this psychological attack. And this guy here, Spazwold, he's also involved in it. So look at this, right? This is how his mind works. I said ALKL. Now, that's just a mistype. That's all it was. Look what he does. You understand all. Now, I said that too. Yes, I do. Well, when it talks spirituality, I think I understand the whole dynamic now after quite a bit of time and research. So he says, you understand all, or are you trying to call me an alky? Oh, okay, he did pick up the right one. But he throws in that little slang bit. So he's in that sort of habit of, taking a reality and flipping it around. I just said, I don't know. You think Fizzbomb is coming round to your way of thinking? Nah, I don't, because I don't think the guy's turned over a new leaf. Because if he did, he'd be making a public apology. Although he did for Tom, but there are other people. He's got to really deal with everyone else that he's harassed. But I think I can fast track him. Yeah, so I actually think I might be able to help the dude if he's honest. So one of the rules of moving towards the enlightened state is you must be 100% truthful. It's a way to work out, where you've be functioning under your ego and being selfish. Rob, in Hangouts, you are the one who gets fizzy. So, hello, viewer number one. Now, what that means is I've been continually using this form of the word fizzy. What it means, and I promise you, this is what happens to people, that live these lies, particularly over a long period of time. What happens is when they get near to a breaking point, either they leave or they confess to their sins, if you like. What they do is they fizz. Now, what that means is that the lies and truth get entangled, and they sort of give themselves away. And there's a bit of fizzing going on here. So typical, they take that concept, right, and then they start using it themselves, which is a double win from my point of view, because A, they're acknowledging it, and B, they're starting to promote it and use that terminology. So it's just like gaslighting. They would pick up that word and start using it and try and flip it around. Yes, yes. Flip it around and say that I'm gaslighting, which couldn't be further from the truth. Okay. So I just say nah. Well, I could say fuzzy because you're so he's being creative here, fuzzy, because you contradict yourself in the same sentence often. That's absolutely not true at all, ever. So he has to provide evidence. So what should happen at this point, I just let him go a bit tonight, but what should happen, well, hang on, it's futile to try and stop him at the moment. I'm waiting for a proper time to deal with this dude, and that doesn't mean vengefully. It just means work on ways to get him to come to the truth. Truth of the matter. So what you would normally do, though, if you weren't, so you were just trying to stop the whole gaslighting in its track, you would just say to the guy, stop for a minute. Okay. You say often, so that means there must be plenty. If you've got any examples or evidence, if he says no, or he starts beating around the bush, well, you can say, well, you need to withdraw or retract what you just said, because you've got no evidence or no basis for it. And they hate being wrong, these dudes, egotistical SOBs. They sincerely hate to be wrong. Now, it can be proven you are intellectually dishonest and delusional. So again, what he's doing here is, this is projecting, right? So got viewers popping in and out. Intellectually dishonest, that actually fits him to a T. Absolutely 100%. How do you prove that? Well, get him to talk on a topic. Let him talk a bit, because he'll know certain things, but then drill down on that topic and you'll find that he's, it starts to unravel. I'm pretty confident that's who he is. And delusional, well, he's a gaslighter, and gaslighter, the foundation of gaslighting is creating false ideas about reality, So he's delusion. So what he does is he projects those qualities back on his target, his victim. So I said, go ahead and try. So prove it, I'm up for the challenge. Let's go. Rob, you have nothing but the inane. Now, that's a really interesting point. He's actually stopped using the term insane. And that's because I think this is a sort of a fizzing event. I think he's getting very cautious. Oh, not fizzing. This is ass covering. So near the end of the fight pattern, there's a lot of ass covering because they want to try and get out without too much damage. They start to realize, oh shit, I'm exposed to no end. And these guys are exposed like you would not believe. And then I said, well, make a video. I already made two. Now he's referring to two that have gone back, and they're just him doing a tirade. I think I can't even remember what they are. But hey, if you want to prove a point, just make a short one and give 3 or 4 examples. That's all I need to establish whether you've got any credibility or not. And if you've got credibility, I'm going to listen. I will. But if you haven't, I'm not going to listen. I'm just not interested. Well, I will call you out for being a liar. He said, I already made 2. Well, I go on to say, nah, make another one, but make it short. So I'm sort of preempting him making an excuse to get out of making this video and providing the evidence, because I really want him to make that evidence, because I know it's going to be bullshit, and then I want to pick it apart, just like I'm doing with this. So he says, make it short, but be detailed and prove all the evidence. When I proved all the evidence provided, I don't know what he's on about there, so I do a Z's, the Z's sign. Now he says more of cognitive dissonance behavior. Now I'm very clear-minded about that. He's suggesting I'm really good at reading cognitive dissonance. and the behavior pattern that matches it. This guy wouldn't have a clue, right? Going to sleep is not cognitive dissonance or doing these. You can pick it up in text, but it's, you know, it's not that easy. But cognitive dissonance has a fight-flight pattern to it. So there's got to be a little aggro, and, you know, name calling comes into it. I do cheeky stuff like calling you Spaz, but I mean serious name calling, like you fucking rah, rah, rah. You know, the C word and all that sort of stuff are signs of cognitive dissonance. So he doesn't know what he's talking about, right? So there's intellectual fraud right there. Hello, viewer number 1, welcome back. Stop hopping in and out. Hello, viewer number 2. Now, here's something while I'm waiting for him and his bullshit, I went and, because I wanted to look up this thing called the immovable race from the Jesus era. Because as soon as I saw it, I knew that these were the enlightened group of his era. So Jesus identifies himself as the Father, Mother, and Son. I don't think that's and also the incorruptible purity. That works. I'm not sure about the Father, Mother, and Son bit. Then he tells John, so that'll be John the Baptist, I guess, I've come to teach you about what is and what was and what will be. There's only the now. We don't worry about what comes next. So maybe this has, been through the ringer a bit. In other words, the past, present, future. Jesus does so in order for John to understand the invisible world and the world that is visible and the immovable race of the perfect humanity. So when I saw that, I thought, wow, that's enlightened folks. That's what that is actually about, because one of the characteristics of being enlightened is that you're immovable in terms of your understanding of the human condition, of spirituality. You can't be shaken. Like no one can shake me on this. And I've seen it in others. They become immovable. It's not, it's not like a stubborn thing, because, we'll listen, but very strong and a very convicted, because it's the reality, basically. So you've worked it out. You've done the journey. So, and he says lol because he doesn't want to pick up on that. Lol, fictional space wizard said nothing in a few sentences. This somehow proves you right. No, I was just pointing out that there was actually a community labeled the immovable race, and it's connected to Jesus. You are delusional. No, I just showed you something about the reality in the 1st century AD, that there was a body of people called the immovable race. That's all. And I know exactly what that means. It has a reality. So that's not delusional. What delusional is where you have false notional ideas in your head about reality, right? Lies. That's delusional. Gaslighters have a shitload. Hello, number 3. Gaslighters have a shitload of baggage to do with delusional thinking. Hello, number 2. I missed you last time. So he says, no, you demonstrably are. So he's broadcast. Hello, viewer number 4. He has broadcast a position as if it were a fact. He said it's demonstrable, so that means that he's got evidence. And I say proof only, and I try and make it easy for him. I say only a couple, Mr. Lazybones. We have just gone over it. So he refers back to other stuff, but that's not appropriate. If you make a claim, you say, here again, I'll repeat yourself, whatever you need to do. Make them out, lay them out. Proof number 1, proof number 2, proof number 3. And that then gives me an opportunity to look at them and say, oh, yeah, shit, Chaz, you're right. Or, no, Chaz, that's not right. Here's the true story. Because at the end of the day, you're talking about me. and I kind of know me. Now, we have just gone over it, blah, blah, blah. Nothing in your assertions yet, not even one. Yeah, so I'm just saying that he's not really got any bloody evidence. That's basically what I'm saying. But, you know, he can come up, bring a couple, bring a video. The proof is self-evident. Proof doesn't work that way. Self-evident? No, that's not going to cut it. No, proof is evidence. So it must have bits and pieces. Don't work that way, Spaz, I said. He says, ever heard of an axiom? So an axiom is a truth, right? So then you've got to bloody sit down and work out what these truths are, these predefined truths, and then see if his predefined truths are accurate. Wouldn't it be just easier to produce your fucking evidence? Do you not understand that? It's pretty straightforward. If you've got evidence, produce it. Stop beating around the bush. So this is delusional and deceptive behavior. And I just said that's crap because, you know, I'm not a one for these axioms. To me, you deal with reality. So if you say that guy over there's got a one leg, he's got his leg chopped off, and then you look over there and you use your eyes and you see, yes, he has, then that's a proof to the original statement that this guy's got a leg chopped off. So, you know, it's that simple. We don't need to go down any fucking intellectual crappy road to deal with the truth. So he says, no, that is fact. Well, you'd have to lay an axiom out, right? You'd have to, what is the axiom that applies in this set of circumstances? Then we would look at it and say, oh, yeah, that's true, that's true. Yeah. But it's easier to look just at the evidence. As long as people are being honest. I can prove it. Go ahead. And then he brings this crap in. I hate this with a passion. I think, therefore I am. So in other words, because I've got a brain, that proves my existence. Bullshit. The mind is fraught with all manner of errors, dreams, vision that have no basis in the real world, reality. You know, the brain can believe in a God. The God has no basis in reality. None. Not one skerrick of evidence that a God exists, so we can't experience them. The true story is I sense. Using my senses, I therefore establish that I exist. That works. That works 100% of the time. That's perfect science, scientific thing, perfect knowledge, perfect reality, an absolute reality. And that's the way it should work. That I think, therefore I am, was actually put up by a bloody religious dude. So there's a vested interest in it. It's fucking bullshit. I promise you, it is just so much bullshit. So just because you do not understand it does not make it crap. No, it is think. No, I do understand it. I understand it perfectly. It is crap. Here's another reason it's crap. There's a phenomenon called meditation. Hello, viewer number 2. There's a phenomenon called meditation. What meditation specifically is shutting your thinking down, basically, right? So you're not thinking. So the mind is stilled. So how does his little bloody story work then? I think, well, hang on, I'm not thinking. So for those moments I'm not thinking, does that mean I no longer exist? No, it doesn't. But on the senses side, when my mind is at rest, my senses are still active. They don't stop and go to sleep. You don't shut them down. They're very black and white. So my model works every time. His model is a load of crap. And it becomes a foundation then for all manner of logic, to view our reality. Logic and bloody fallacies and all manner of stupid fucking bullshit to determine whether we're in reality or not. Well, all you got to do is use your senses. Trust your senses. If you're not sure about them, get someone else to check that using their senses. Get 10 people using their senses. That's the way you determine reality. Now, if we applied that as the golden rule, here's what happens. Religions are fucking finished. That's it. Because they don't pass the ultimate test of reality. Devils, angels, none of them exist. There's better argument. Oh, that's a good argument, but you know, you can build on it. There's a lot of arguments against religions, and I know for 100% that they're just crap. There's no such thing as a God. Never was, never will be. No such thing as devils. No such thing as afterlife. No such thing as souls. All of those things can't be experienced in the senses, so therefore they don't exist. Okay, so so thank you, Chaz. I'm glad you brought that up again. Just because you do not understand it does not make it correct. No, fucking bullshit, Chaz. I understand it perfectly. And I'm extremely accurate with my understanding. Thinking is, and so I just made a point to him. I said, thinking is unreliable. And that's an absolute fact. It is unreliable. So how can you rest your existence on something that's bloody unreliable as an indicator? And that when it shuts down, you know, your existence must follow that you no longer exist. So the model just doesn't work. It's a load of theological, and it was a religious dude that came up with the bullshit. It's a load of theological crap. So this is where your idiocy comes in, Rob. So, you know, what he should be doing there is he needs to say, and so I've understood it perfectly. He doesn't think I do. And because of that that lack of understanding on his side, so again, we've got this, you know, this sort of like projecting. He then says, you know, calls me an idiot, basically. Now, I said, take gaslighting as an example. Senses experience reality and connect the self to that reality. And that's true, they do. That's what our senses are basically designed to do. Collect data on a continual basis from the real world. Our senses don't lie. They simply don't. They're not made to think or change or whatever. They're simply data collectors. I've heard most of the arguments against it, so if you want to bring them up again, go for it, but I'm pretty sure I'm spot on this one. So the senses experience reality and connect. They say, yeah, numbskull. I'm having a crack at his ego, right? Because he's got a huge ego. This is the root of your problem. And it truly is the root of his problem. This, I think, therefore I am. You know, he thinks reality's got to be intellectualized. No, it's got to be experienced. Live, experience life. That's the way it works. Your mind then becomes the interpreter, and if you're present in the moment with a clear mind, less hope that the data coming on board gets corrupted. Ego minds corrupt data coming in often. And that's where the ego comes from, this thing called an ego, which causes these guys to live a miserable existence, make life miserable for other people. That's what the egos do. You use thinking to describe a delusional reality. That's true. He does. He goes on to say, you do not understand what I think, therefore I am is. Well, no, I understand it perfectly well. Nor how it is relevant to the current conversation. No, I do. You're claiming it's an axiom, so therefore it's a golden rule, but it's not, because it doesn't cover all circumstances. Golden rules work fucking every single time. Otherwise, you know, they don't serve their purpose. How is it relevant to the current conversation? And then go down this repeating of your senses are reliable. Well, they are. if there is variation, sorry, there are times of variation, and if they are, we can scientifically report and explain that variation. Thinking it isn't duality bullshit. It is a duality, and it's not bullshit. When everything you sense in order to become consciously aware of it takes thought, and thus you do not know what you sense, but what you think you sense. No. Well, senses go through to the mind. The senses is the reliable part, the mind's not. Hello, viewer number one. The others have flown the coop. You might want to watch more videos by Robert Sapolsky. No, thanks. I've seen enough. It works. The model works. I'm right. You is wrong. That's attacking his ego. No, you are wrong. He said, she said. Nah. But you are too uneducated to know. Nah, I know. You believe. And that's the point I'm trying to make to him. Egoic people believe lots of shit. And I'm not kidding you. Belief is a nightmare for humanity. What is belief? It's the position you take when you think something's a possibility, but you don't know for sure. You've got no evidence. So in that case, what should happen, anything that's a belief should be put on the shelf, and we don't pull it off that shelf until it's actually proven to exist. So it should just stay away from us. So in other words, put all your religious bullshit on a shelf, and when you get sorted and you prove it, and you bring God around to meet the family, then we'll listen to religion. But until then, let's just park it. Same with ET and terrestrials. Until they visit us, let's not worry too much about them, spend our money on helping people or whatever. But belief as a word should almost be struck out of our dictionaries. It's been a nightmare for humanity because, to use his word, it's probably an axiom, I guess. Beliefs have no basis in reality. If they had a basis in reality, then we wouldn't call them beliefs. We call it knowledge, or we know these facts. Where are we? No, you do not know, Rob. You know. There is more to the ego mind behavior. Yes, I do. Oh, so I'm sort of behind him. I have a bit of a laugh at him. I do know the ego mind behavior very, very, very well. I'm getting better at it as we go along. Ego mind, Rob is having a cognitive dissonance. So these are the two things I use terms. He's now using them, sort of projecting back to me. So this is definitely a projection, but he's not using them correctly. Jaswald, you need to pay more attention. Rob is right, except when he is wrong about axioms of self-evident truth. Well, we've gone through that. Yet claims to know reality. Yes, I do. I loll at you, sir. Yeah, of course you do. Claims he knows the true reality from what senses is not delusional at all because he claims he doesn't think. No, I think I explained that. I use my brain efficiently, yeah. You see, I have just proven the fact that you are delusional in self. Congrats, Rob, you just lost. So that's part of the egoic behavior. He's, this is a competition for him. He desperately wants to win this competition. I just said to him, I use the brain efficiently. No, to one comment. And I said, I can never lose. So again, if you're enlightened, you live the truth. Your life is truth. This is why you will not debate me in live hangs, because you know I will pull you undone like I did every time. Well, that's what he says, he claims, but he's quite welcome. I will never debate him in a room because of his behaviours in debate. It's mind-numbing, and he just prattles on. And he doesn't allow you to pull him up on, some of his wild claims. So, the rule for this dude, and I'm not going to deal with him yet. There's other people to have a chat to first. The rule for him is that he comes into my space and we've got to do it under my rules. If he doesn't like it, well, that's it. I don't care, Don't care if we never do the debate. Now, when your time comes, I'll prove my point. Go rest now, Chaz. You got nothing, Spaz, so I'm having to dig at him. I have it all worked out. And I think I do. I think I do. Rob, go to the now. So now he refers to a situation where these boys, and I'm very confident about this, caused me to go into mental health care for a period of 19 days, the diagnosis being bipolar. I disputed the diagnosis. There was a tribunal hearing at the end of the 19 days, and I won that tribunal. So this is the first time. The guys got me in there a second time. Different set of circumstances, but they're contributing to that outcome. On both instances, I think I'm fine. And I mean, you know, I'm home now. Unfortunately, I'm on lithium. But, you know, I think I'm doing well. And if you watch any of my videos, I keep my composure. These guys can't suck me in anymore. That's all history. So that's what he's referring to. This is go to the doctors, accept your mental condition. No, I won't. I mean, I'll do whatever I'm told to do by doctors. I don't dispute that, but I'll never accept that condition. And I'm going to, and I've told them I'm going to go to a psychiatrist in a couple of days. I'm going to have a talk to them about, you know, what I've come to know and just see what their thoughts are. Step one. And get the proper treatment. So he's now assuming that the treatment I've been given is improper. He's got no evidence or he's got no information on that at all. He makes it up in his mind, and that's delusional, you know, so he's being delusional. So, Rob, you have nothing worked. You have nothing worked. You just think you do, same as every delusional religious figure. Well, you know, I don't like religions. Spirituality, the Jesus I talk about is more what they call gnosis, I suppose, which is closely related to science because it's about knowing, not believing. So there's something about the human condition that we all can know and can seriously benefit from. And I ain't joking, and I know precisely what it is. So patience is a virtue, Spazwald, save yourself, keep it cool. Oh, and Dr. Sapolsky said the religiosity was correlated to mental illness. So he's sort of trying to say that if you're religious, you're somehow, you know, correlated. So I guess there's a relationship between, I'm not sure which goes first. So the enlightened one, Chaz, will have to explain. For your enlightenment, no religion's here, Spaz, humanism. And that's true. The Jesus true teaching is more a naturalist perspective. It's about humanity. Not the Roman bloody one, the Roman story. Yeah, all right. He's having a crack at me. Rob fails again, but his mind, it never happened. He's delusional. Now he throws in the word narcissistic. I'm pretty sure that I could be perceived that way, but I don't think I'm anywhere like it, because my position is that I love all humanity, even these egotistical SOBs that, you know, make your life a bit of a misery at times. Oh, not now. I mean, in the early days, though, because I really wasn't attuned to what was going on. So, and I just said projecting Mr. Thinker. Then he does the cognitive dissonance of Rob's ego mind. Now, I'm just going to unshare for a minute because I want to scroll down and skip all of this and just finish up. So just hang on a moment. All right, let's see what he says. Why don't you go to bed, Chaz? Let's have a look at what he says. No, I thought there was 8. Oh, these are all his. Oh, so he's responding to what I'm saying. It is something that is self-evident truth. Well, isn't that a truth? Bad luck, Chaz. All right, that'll do. I think that's enough for a night. So thanks for dropping by, viewers and Chazwell. Have a good evening. Well, I'll go this way.